everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Lost Guys. And today we are going to be talking about something which might cause a few of the arachnophobes in the audience a bit of concern. Yes, somehow golden spiders have returned.
Oh, no. No, where's the bug spray? Get the bug spray stat.
No. This is one of my patented bad jokes. In fact, we are talking about golden spiders, but not of the actual, how should I put this, arachnid variety. Instead,
is it the one from Ocarina of Time where you have to do the side quest and get so many spider medals to... Okay, I'll shut up now.
Maybe we should do that. No. We are going to be talking about the book by the famous Rex Stout, a Nero Wolfe mystery, The Golden Spiders. And this is, so this is a small image, number one. Like, is that better? No, that's not good. But it is a one in a series of mystery novels. It was recommended to us by the mysterious Martin Stone, who is one of the Lost Guys, and we've settled on the name of Lost Guys now. So that's
guys. We have a name, ladies and gentlemen. We have a name. I should have gotten the balloons.
We are the Lost Guys, and our shtick is that somehow something returned, and we're going to stick with that as long as we can. Gosh darn it! So on that note, hello Martin, hello Nolan. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good. You know, I'm very glad to be here with some very cool people. And you know what? With how mysterious Martin is, I could see him as a detective. I could see it.
Yeah,
man of mystery.
He needs the fedora and maybe I know the trench coat. I think I could see it. Yeah, absolutely.
I actually have a fedora. My grandmother gave it to me. It was my grandfather's.
Oh wow! All right.
I almost went through a trend where my younger years, I almost once went for the fedora look, and some people can rock it. I was definitely not one of those people that could. I'm glad I never did that, so I didn't have to go to the past and slap me. So, I mean, if I was a man of culture, I'd be wearing like pumps or something. I don't know.
Well, you know, I am not ashamed to say that the only hat that I've ever been able to sort of wear, that's two hats. The first is a baseball hat, and the second one is obviously a toque for the wintertime. But I've never been able to rock a fedora or a Stetson.
Wait, you guys call it toques? We call it boggin hats around here.
Or boggin hats. Beanies. We can call it too, yes. So on that note, Martin, you're the one who talked to us and who's convinced us that we needed to do a book, which is the first time we're doing a book on this. The Golden Spiders. Why? Well, give us the lowdown. What is it about this book that you wanted to speak to us a little bit about? And maybe you can give us a bit of an overview of the story as well.
Sure. How about I give you an overview of the characters, like the world of Nero Wolfe?
Yes.
All right. So the Golden Spiders. Go ahead.
And is he really forgotten?
Well, he keeps coming back, but never really into the mainstream imagination.
All right.
Love that name.
Yeah, Nero Wolfe or Rex Stout, but they're both good names.
Nero Wolfe.
Right.
That is a great name.
Well, it's sort of a made-up name, even within the narrative. Nero Wolfe is born a Montenegrin and had lived a life of adventure, and gets tired of that. He's made some money internationally, and then he travels to New York City and invests in a brownstone and sets up office as a private detective. But he's no longer interested in anything in the outside world. He refuses to leave his home. He makes enough money that he's hired himself a private chef, and his great passions in life are food and orchids. So he has his private chef. He has a gardener who helps him with the orchids, and he also has Archie Goodwin, who's the narrator of the Nero Wolfe series of novels, who is a private detective who works for Nero Wolfe, the private detective.
And can I just jump in here really quick to say that these books were first released in around 1953, and a distinguishing trait of Nero Wolfe is that he is obese, which was rather rare for the time, although I would say perhaps not so much these days.
Archie describes him as, to 2/7 of a ton a couple of times, which is a nice poetical way of saying he's a large man. A lot of times in the book, it talks about how the only place that Nero is really comfortable is in his custom-made chair that sits behind his massive desk. That it's the only chair really big enough to hold his bulk.
I never realized throughout the whole thing of this that the dude, he brought the girth. Like that's an refreshing thing to see.
It wasn't apparent to me either until after I finished it and I was researching and I was like, oh, he looks a bit like L. Ron Hubbard.
He's got class, though. He is a man of class.
Yeah.
I will give you one correction. You said it was like 1953. I think that's this book. The Nero Wolfe series of novels begins in the 1930s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With a book called Fleur de Lance.
Oh.
And it's kind of funny because throughout the novels don't follow time exactly. All the novels take place in the current year, but Nero and Archie and Fritz, who is the chef, they don't change. Archie is still a guy in his early 30s, and Nero is a guy who's probably in his early 50s. Throughout the entire run of the novels, which go from like 34 to I think 73.
Wow. And
go ahead.
Sorry, go on, Noel.
Well, one of the things I've loved about these books is that detective fiction has its different spheres. There's like the parlor mystery where the detective solves a crime in some secluded British manor with everybody present and doesn't have to go anywhere. And then you've got the American gumshoe, like the
Dick Tracy.
Yeah, you got Dick Tracy. You've got the Continental Op. You've got the Maltese Falcon. All this, that sort of stuff. Archie is your American gumshoe, and Nero is your European parlor detective. And Rex Stout has combined those, so you still have the man of action in Archie, but a lot of Archie's job is to pull in the world to the genius detective Nero Wolfe for him to solve the case.
And that's what I found very interesting when I was looking up the character of Nero Wolfe and the sort of Rex Stout's mysteries. Basically, the entire premise or the entire sort of conceit of Nero Wolfe, from what I understand and from what he said, is that he's a character who, and I'm going to quote from Wikipedia here, he insists upon the point, under no circumstances will he leave his home or violate his routines in order to facilitate an investigation. The exceptions are few and remarkable. Instead of spreading the principles of order and justice throughout his society, Wolfe imposes them dogmatically and absolutely within the walls of his house. And he invites those who are troubled by an incomprehensible and threatening environment to enter the controlled economy of the house and to discover there the source of disorder in their own lives. The invitation is extended to readers as well as to clients. And that's really neat. It's I guess it's a Star Trek version of Deep Space Nine, where you have a space station. Instead of the Enterprise flying off to go and meet the various adventures and whatnot, they come to the station instead.
Yeah, I thought about that.
That was a very painful analogy. Sorry about that.
Well, what did you two think of this book? I chose it because it's one that really shows a lot of the foibles of the characters and shows Nero kind of out of his normal comfort zone. The adventure has come to him from the start, and he's in it for his own ego less than he's in it for the money in this one.
Well, I mean, it starts off pretty tragic, right? Like, are we going to talk about spoilers? Let's do the spoilers.
Well, how about we do the setup and not give away the end?
Okay, sure.
I think we can do that.
All right.
So, the setup of the book is that Archie and Nero, who are often sort of at each other's throats, they respect each other for their given talents, and they know that they work better together. But Archie's job is to agitate Wolfe into action, because Wolfe knows of himself he would just enjoy his food, enjoy his orchids until there was nothing left. So they've had some sort of row, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but over the course of dinner, and dinner is never to be interrupted by work ever. That's a hard and fast rule for Nero. There's a knock at the door, and a kid is there wanting to talk to Nero Wolfe about business. And he's a window washer in New York City. But this is like before I'm going to swing a base. My buddy here's got a baseball bat and I'm going to break your window washers. This is like the, 10-year-old street urchin window washers of the 50s.
Right.
And so Pete Drossas is the kid, and he saw a woman being held at gunpoint by a man, and the woman told him to get a cop. And then they drive off, and instead of going to a cop, because Pete Drossas doesn't trust them, he goes instead to Nero Wolfe, figuring a woman who has expensive golden spider earrings is a woman who could give us a fee, and I'm going to split that with you, Nero Wolfe. So he wants Nero Wolfe to help him solve the case of what's going on with this woman.
That's good.
Yeah. We all on the same page on that one?
We are.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So tragically, okay. Archie thinks Wolfe is just going to kick the kid out, but because of the tension between them, Wolfe decides that he's going to ruin Archie's evening. I think he's going to go see a basketball game at Madison Square Garden or something like that. And he has Archie take notes of the entire meeting as if it's an official business meeting. And then they dismiss Pete after, milk and cookies and send him on his way. Unfortunately, the next day, Pete's mom shows up and Pete has been hit by a car. And Pete's mom has gone and gotten Pete asked that she go and get the money that he saved up and give it to Nero Wolfe to pay him to solve the case of what happened to Pete. And so Archie is incensed by this. Nero is incensed by it, but Nero doesn't see what they can do. So Archie decides, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to spend Pete's money on Pete. I'm going to take out an ad in the paper. If it costs any extra, I'll kick it in myself. We're going to advertise looking for a woman with golden spider earrings. And
just like there was a picture.
That's right. And that's where the case picks up in earnest. Do you think we got enough to talk about there? There's no spoilers in that so far.
Yeah, I think we do. And I mean, afterwards, there are some more people who are, how should we put it in the modern parlance, who are unalived. And this further spurs Wolfe into action. And he's got sort of a network of agents that he relies on. And very much a classic detective mystery wherein you've got the legwork, you've got Archie in this case going around trying to corral up various suspects.
I'm sorry, there are like a million like sirens blaring outside my house. So the fact that you're bringing up this, like telling this part of the story right now is extremely fitting. But go on.
All right. Well, you know what, Nolan, if you got to run, we understand. And mum's the word. We won't tell them where you went.
Oh, dang. I'm sorry. I'm out. I'm out, guys.
But no, okay. Right off the bat, I listened to this. I didn't read this. This was an audiobook, and it was thanks to Martin, who kindly provided us or pointed us in the right direction of the material. And I listened to this at 1.5 speed because I found 2x speed was a bit incomprehensible, and 1.5 was just right. But
I did 2x on some of it. Sometimes the guy sounded like the Scat Man, but it worked.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, at 1x, it was really interesting because this is a classic detective novel, as if it was something along the lines of, well, it was. They translated these novels into radio plays, and so you could fully see instances where a family would kind of crowd around the radio listening to the next chapter.
Yeah, I got that vibe. I thought of Christmas Story, when they're all kind of huddled around the radio hearing the adventures of Little Orphan Annie. I did feel a little bit of that reminiscent of that kind of time. Like,
tune in next week for another Nero Wolfe adventure.
Well, that's exactly it. And so when you sped it up to 1.5, it was like, And then Nero Wolfe suddenly talked to his friend Archie, and they said that they were going to go and do this. And then like it sounds like a 1930s news broadcaster or something. In this
It reminds me
today,
of like a play-by-play.
war has been declared on the Germans, and now we're going to be going into the fight. And so it really kind of added to the flavor of the book, I have to say, much more than if I'd read it like on text. And so I don't normally do audiobooks. So this was also a bit of a new experience for me. But no, that was that added to the charm of it. And so it did feel like I was being transported a little bit back into the 1930s, 1950s with this novel, which was new, which was neat, which was interesting. And I'd recommend it to people who want to listen to this. What about you, Nolan?
I really love that narrator who narrates the book too. He's got that old school storyteller type. Like, I don't even know that dude's still alive, but I would straight up hire him to narrate something like for me. Like, I'm starting to notice a trend with these where I'm asking for people to narrate my lives, but like, I want people to narrate my life apparently. But no, this guy, he's got like that old school like presence. Like you can definitely see like how this sort of thing like this genre influenced people who drew inspiration from it later on, right down to I love I really like the way like whenever like a new character is introduced, you get to hear our main character like judging every aspect of whoever comes in. It's like she was a beautiful woman walking into the aisle, like clearly had some trauma in her past. Or he's talking about someone, he's like a man of elegance, but there's one part in this book where he's talking about the dude's stash. He talks about how it looks like a third eyebrow, and I was kind of laughing at that. I kind of like how snarky this dude is. Yeah, I just hope he was thinking all the thoughts and not saying out loud, or he's going to get slapped.
Well, so the conceit of the books is that Archie is writing the memoirs of Nero Wolfe cases. And so that's something he does all the time when he's describing somebody. He'll describe their faults more than he'll describe their looks and stuff like that. And this is, 30s to 70s. So like Archie will describe a woman and talk about she's the kind of woman who you look at her and you think she could lose 5 pounds. But then when you look at her again, you're not really sure where they should come from.
And, Nolan, that's an absolutely great point, because the snark in this, the humor was cutting. It was dry. It was really great when it was pulled out. And it just clicked in me right now. Are you guys fans of Calvin and Hobbes by any chance?
Love Calvin.
I know what you're talking about, but that somehow eluded me through all my childhood.
So there are some, Calvin is Calvin. It's basically a cartoon strip of a young boy and his imaginary friend who's a tiger, a stuffed tiger. And if you ever, you should really go out and read those, Nolan. They're fantastic. But
maybe we have an episode.
Have people really forgotten about Calvin and Hobbes? Is this really? Oh man, I feel old.
No,
anyway,
I don't think they have. I still see. I know it's a thing. It's a thing.
You see the bumper stickers everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. But there are parts. Are we
talking like Calvin and Hobbes, like political bumper stickers? Are they like running for office?
Urinating on
the Ford logo or the Chevy logo or whatever.
Pick, yeah. But
that's actually him.
Yeah, well, that is what Calvin looks like. Yeah,
that's where that came from.
Yeah, and did he ever actually urinate on anybody in the comics? I don't think so.
I don't remember it. That seems a little blue for comic strips back in the day.
Bill Watterson. Anyway, where I'm going with this is that one of the he has a very active imagination, of course, and he has all sorts of various scenarios that he dreams up in his head, including like Spaceman Spiff. But then also there's a detective scenario, which is the classic Gumshoe, like the dame walked into my office and I could tell she was trouble immediately. And so I can see where that inspiration came from with the Rex Stout books now.
Yeah, well, and it's Rex Stout and it's Raymond Chandler and really all the greats. But like I said, Rex Stout is the one who combines the American gumshoe tradition that was developing at the time with the European parlor mystery.
So that is interesting. I've knew about the American Gumshoe. I did not know about the European parlor mystery. Martin, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So parlor mysteries, and that's kind of my term for it, I guess. But so all those classic who done it, it was the butler kind of books
Oh.
where it's all a bunch of rich people in a on on the foggy moors, and there's a murder, and there's 12 people in the house, and some detective happens to be there for a party, and he has to figure it out.
So you're talking about like the latest Rian Johnson movies then?
Yeah, stuff like that. But
or the game Clue.
Yeah, Clue is a great example where everything's confined and everybody's together. You don't have to go and do the legwork. You just have to figure out the clues. Well, that's what Nero does. Nero pays attention to things that other people don't notice. In fact, often,
yeah, he does a lot of. I like where he's talking about where he's like, that can't be what it is because it's too obvious, and the police are already thinking about that. I have to think about something completely different, and like it seems to get him results.
Yeah, well, often that's a point he'll often make with clients who want him to do this or that, and he says, "No, that's something for the police to do. They've got an army of people to investigate for them. There's no way we can compete with that. What we're going to do is this," and it's usually what will get Nero more results for less work, because that's a running theme in Nero's life, that he doesn't want to work anymore. That's why Archie's there, to make him work. But then there are a lot of times where a policeman will be upset with Nero about something because Nero says he is going to tell them who did it, and the police are like, "You're withholding evidence." He's like, "I'm not withholding anything. I only have the evidence that you have. I just noticed something that you didn't."
There was a show?
Oh, there's been several shows.
Yeah, that was going to be the next subject, and the fact that they've actually made some shows and movies about this, haven't they?
Yeah, I think there's even a Russian show.
No, that's Wolf in the background there, I think.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah, that's Archie in the front. Archie's always dapper.
Okay, all right. Classy, I like. Seems he got the babes with him. He's doing a good job. I respect these dudes. I like that hat. I want that hat.
And the character actor that you notice in the back, Hangry, that's a Canadian.
Oh dear. But that's good.
Yeah. He's great. He's my favorite interpretation of Nero by far.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
and also, go ahead.
So you have seen the shows and the movies and whatnot then?
Yeah, I have. In fact, this show, I saw it during its original run on A&E, and that's what clued me into finding the books.
Have they ever adapted The Golden Spiders?
It was the first episode.
Really?
Huh. Yeah, it was done as a movie, actually. It's like an hour and a half long movie that was on A&E, kind of as a backdoor pilot.
Oh, that's cool. I gotta say, there's something. Sorry, going back to the fashion then for a second, but I'm sorry, I just have to geek out about this for a minute. I love it when like I love that's one of my favorite things about old school stuff like this set in like the 50s time period is like when you were going out, you went out. Like you had like dressed to the nines, like you were gonna be making an image for yourself, and it mainly made like these like crime dramas or murder mysteries that much more cool. Like especially if it's like murder on like an express or something like that. It's supposed to be super elegant dining, and just when you see something traumatizing and something so formal, it just really makes a really cool. It resonates with you somehow, and I like it.
What you're saying that like the tank top and Crocs and shorts isn't formal enough? No.
The Croc Night murder mystery. Yeah, we'll have that.
There we go.
So like somebody
this
gets
knife
killed,
was in the Crocs the whole time.
So somebody gets killed because they're wearing Crocs.
I like it. Where this is going.
The Croc is the knife. That's the new style.
I was gonna say they're killed by a Croc shoved down their throat, but the Crocs have holes in them, so that wouldn't work, right?
Okay, I would watch this just for the absurdity of it.
I think so. Well, I'm looking up a little bit about Rex Stout, and a bit of troubling news, colleagues. Unfortunately, it sounds as though Rex helped start the radical Marxist magazine, The New Masses.
Yes, he did.
However, he had been told He had been told that the magazine was primarily to bringing arts and letters to the masses, but he realized after a few issues, quote, that it was communist and intended to stay communist, and he ended his association with it, as we all should.
Oops.
Yeah, Rex was totally my political opposite. I mean, I'm not a communist. I hate communists too. Rex hated.
Oh no! Go on, Martin.
Yeah.
Go on.
Rex hated communists.
Let's segue into communism now. Somehow
Sure,
communism came back. Yeah, no.
Oh God, no!
Oh, I've been reading the Gulag Archipelago. I can go on and on about that one.
Okay.
But yeah, Rex was an anti-communist. He hated communists almost as much as he hated anti-communists. Like he just hated the right wing and how anti-communist they were. He was a devout New Dealer.
That's what it says. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, he got himself in a little trouble by so vociferously defending Japanese internment.
All right. Well, that's a subject we're not going to touch today. So let's talk about the TV show. Have you seen this one, Martin?
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Woo!
He seems like a good choice to play him.
Yeah. Not a bad choice. I think Golden Spiders was the first episode of that one too. That was the 81 series, right?
So what is it about Golden Spiders that stood out from the rest of his books? I mean,
Yeah,
I think it's got all the main characters. Saul Panzer is a detective that works for Wolfe on a freelance basis. Archie describes him as the best independent operator in the business. And in fact, Archie even thinks that Saul could do his job, except Saul doesn't want his job. And on top of that, Archie irritates Wolfe just enough to make Wolfe work. So that's why Archie has the job and not Saul. Lon Cohn is a frequent character. He works for the newspaper, The Gazette. That he's their connection to the media world. And also, I think another one is that this novel involves displaced people, some of whom are illegal immigrants, which at the time meant like people fleeing from Nazis and communists and third world.
Oh, my modern day brain went in completely different directions. Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah. So like, I think Saul at some point pretends to be an Ashkenazi Jew who's fleeing Europe and in the country illegally.
Oh,
to draw the ire of, or to draw the heat of the villains in this. So there's a lot of stuff going on that's a little peculiar for the Wolfe series, but it's a good distillation of who these characters are. And I think that's why I chose this one, because it's a good way into the series.
So this one being set in 1953, obviously it comes after a number of the other books. So would it be jarring, for example, to go from this one to say the first one that he set and that he wrote back in 1935?
I don't think so. There are some things that would be a bit different for you. For instance, Police Inspector Kramer, who's like the surly curmudgeon police officer that you expect in a detective novel. In the first book, he's actually more kindly and fatherly of a figure, and he smokes a pipe instead of chews cigars and stuff like that. The first couple books didn't really have they hadn't set the pace yet, and this is a book that's right in the middle. I think it's like 32 or 22 of 49 books written or something like that.
You know what? It might not set the pace, but at least they had a name.
Yeah, Nero Wolfe. It's a good name.
Yep. And so what? And then going back again, stepping back a little bit further, you've talked a little bit about the amalgamation of the American Gumshoe as well as the European parlor drama on this. And is it safe to say that the Nero Wolfe series is probably among your favorite when it comes to detective novels? And if so, what is it that sets these apart that would entice somebody listening to us right now to say, hey, wait a minute, let me go to Amazon and download this.
All right. So when you're talking about like the Raymond Chandler gumshoe novels that became like the film noir, those books are actually pretty rough. There's it doesn't shy away from the mean side of like the Pinkerton detectives at the first quarter of the 20th century.
Okay.
And like the detective himself gets into a lot more gray areas, and actually a lot of times crosses over into some black areas to get his job done. The Nero Wolfe series, by having Archie have a foot in that gumshoe world, but still Nero pulling you back into the more elegant world. It's more family friendly, so it's a book series I wouldn't mind giving my 13-year-old son.
Okay. Even with all of the various, blue scenes and no, I'm kidding.
But I will say this as what I think is a fault in the books. Agatha Christie, she always tried to write what she called fair play mysteries, where the audience gets all of the clues to solve the mystery themselves. Nero Wolfe doesn't do that. Nero plays things close to the vest. In fact, a lot of times in the books, he'll send Archie off to do something to keep Archie isolated so that other things can play out in Archie's absence, which narratively keeps Archie from knowing until later.
Okay, got it. So even if you are very detectively minded, then reading these books, it's almost like when the culprit is revealed at the end, they provide you with some critical information that would have otherwise been very useful for your own sleuthing. So you're almost trying. So you're almost trying not to figure out who done it.
Right. Yeah. This is a narrative that unfolds in front of you, whereas an Agatha Christie novel like And Then There Were None, or that one is one where she lays out all the clues, and if you're a astute reader, you can pick up on it.
I see. Well, that is interesting. And I mean, this book, so again, fair warning, because I was listening to it as an audiobook, I feel that I probably glossed over a bit of the nuance and the depth that would normally come with being able to read it. Yeah. So I like I said before, I'm not used to the audiobook format. I find and that, especially if I have it on during work or whatever, then I'm half paying attention, which is unfortunate. Like, I think this book deserves a proper sit down by the fire with a book, with a cup of tea, and some nice music in the background, and a solid read through with 100% of my attention on it. So I am a little bit disadvantaged in that respect, but at the same time, I do appreciate the novel, how it was put together. The characters stood out. It was really, if you have any interest in classical mysteries at all, like, this feels like the quintessential detective book, and that's probably the best way that I can put it. How did you, like, was there anything that stood out for you, Nolan, apart from what you've already mentioned?
Okay, so I am definitely an audiobook kind of person. I actually have a mixture of both. I'm the dude who buys too many dang books and gets certain quarter way into it. Instead of finishing that book, I buy another book and then another book, and then it just keeps climbing down, and the next thing you know, you have like 1,000,000 books. I prefer audiobooks because I can multitask with doing stuff. And that's also kind of to my detriment here too, because I also had the same problem too, where compared to, because I'm really into biographies or stuff based off of either conspiracy or philosophical stuff on real life events and stuff. And usually if I'm listening to fiction, this might be my curse, so to speak. I maybe that's a bit extreme, but I like to consider myself a filmmaker. for some reason, when I listen to audiobooks or read fiction books to me, I feel like it's almost incomplete. And I know that's kind of hearsay, and I know it's not it's me that's the problem. And I just that's why I got really intrigued when Martin showed the show, because I feel like maybe I could have a deeper appreciation for it, because I could just tell that while there were things I could appreciate, I felt bad because I'm just like, I just could not get into it. Like, it missed something that just could really hook me and grab me, like either like something that was a bit different from what I'm used to, and or maybe just like a character I could just really deep and connect with. And that's not really the fault of the book. I think it definitely seems like it's had an impact on a lot of people. And some of those tropes I appreciate that were later like satired or played tribute to had done it very well. And I'm one who's very serious on like respecting the past. I remember years ago when I read Tom Sawyer, I just could not like Samuel Clemens did some amazing work, and it should be respect for what he did at the time, but I guess this just wasn't for me. And I definitely have to give respect for the series, but it just couldn't really vibe with me. And I guess I'd say for those that are watching, like, if this is something that intrigues you, go for it, because I think you'll have a much different experience than what I did. And as we see with Martin, it definitely seems like it hits on a lot of notes for a lot of people. And I kind of wish there were certain things that I could connect with more. But I do have to say, though, I do at the end of the day appreciate what it could bring for a lot of people. And maybe if I am in that fireside event, you know, like let's read, actually like reading the books, which I usually don't read as much physically, but I still enjoy it. I really do. I'm a speed reader. But maybe I just need to be more in the vibe to truly appreciate it.
And that's fair. That is absolutely fair. I mean, full disclosure, I have not read many mystery novels in my lifetime. I was always
my first one.
I can feel the horror from Martin right now.
No, I love introducing new things to people, and Nolan, I wish it had hit you differently, but it didn't, and that's cool.
No, yeah. It's not.
I'm so grateful,
it's not cool.
Though, that you brought this to the table, though, because I'm sorry, you're making me crack up right now. But no, I'm so glad, because it's so different. Like, I like being introduced to new things. It's like with food, it doesn't always slap, but I'm really into books. And I gotta say thank you also, Martin, because you reminded me of a deep rage inside my heart of how much I freaking hate the Barnes and Noble redesign they did about a year or two ago, and how much I want to rant for about 10 minutes about how much I hate it because of how much I love books. But like, if we ever need an episode on that, I will gladly rip Barnes and Noble a new one. But continue, please. Let's talk about the happy things of books.
Well, let's talk about William Shatner being Archie. Look at this.
Yeah. You can actually find this this unaired pilot on YouTube.
Really?
So viewers, go and check that out after you finish checking out all the wonderful things on that park place.
That absolutely. I recommend the Pumps episode. It was pretty good.
But, Mr. Wolfe, how could this person be a victim when they are, in fact, the murderer?
No, this is actually
he's dead, Jim.
Not exactly pre-pause Shatner, but more like smarmy Shatner.
All right, I do have to go check that out.
I wonder if there's any point in Star Trek where they had something weird happen to where he had to think back. William's like, man, of all the roles I've done, which one can I go back to? That's the one. I have experience in this.
Well, at any rate, though, it's for those people who might be looking for something to read, for those people who might be thinking that they'd like a classic, like I said before, quintessential, I would say, detective novel. If you want to feel like you're transported back to the 40s or the 50s, this is the one to do it, especially the audiobook. So I would really highly recommend it. It was a little bit like a time machine in a way, a sort of a quantum leap, just with everything, the characterization, the vocabulary used. I enjoyed that. I feel like I need to, I feel like after reading this, I need to have sort of a Hugh Hefner robe with fuzzy slippers and a scotch sitting by a fireplace in my study, which I don't have.
I thought you were gonna say like it was like murder mystery at the Playboy Mansion. Like, okay, that sounds like actually a really fascinating synopsis. I'm not saying that in a suggestive. I'm like, I think that could be an amazing comedy or murder mystery if they did that. Like, this is a
that
great
sounds more like
idea.
a Columbo episode. Yeah, definitely a Columbo.
I just don't want. Let's just hope that Rian Johnson never gloms onto this. And on that note, why do you think that this hasn't sort of been a bit more prominent in our culture and our society? Because when you look back at the books that Rex Stout has done, like as Martin said, he's written 41 of these books, and at one point, again per my research, these were considered to be the most successful detective books of all time, I believe. Isn't that correct?
More than Sherlock Holmes?
They were really high sellers in the 50s and 60s, so much that there was a Nero Wolfe cookbook that was released.
Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
So that is amazing.
It's just it's wild to me that you had something which was so prominent and which was so popular at the time, and you flash forward to 2024 and people are like, who's Nero Wolfe? Is he related to that Roman guy who was fiddling when Rome was burning, or what's the deal there?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. It's something I've wondered about before. When my wife and I were dating, I introduced her to the TV series, and we watched through that together. We've been talking about getting a dog and naming it Archie so I can bellow at it. Nice. Archie.
That would be great,
wouldn't it?
Archie's such a good dog name too.
It is. It really is. We're gonna get a cat and name it Baba Yaga.
Oh,
yes.
The kids can call it Bob.
As a John Wick fan, that makes me very happy.
Oh, well, my family's Eastern European, so Bobby.
Yeah, I was going to say there's more to it than that, but you should get a second cat and name that cat Kalima, perhaps.
Kalima. But I think Nero Wolfe disappears from the public consciousness often because it's a 2-lead series, right? If you're going to make it a TV series or movie series, and those two polar opposites of the different detective traditions make it difficult to film, I think.
Really?
And,
I think the A&E series is one of the best television to book adaptations I've ever seen of any media.
Oh.
But it's a very stylized, peppy 30s, 40s, 50s kind of feel. And but I think it would be difficult to recreate today.
And I think, not to be the Debbie Downer here, but it might almost be a bit of a blessing in disguise that they haven't tried to recreate.
What? You don't want politically correct Wolf? You don't want that?
It feels like our modern media has perhaps declined a little bit in recent times. And so
a bit? You think a bit?
Now, I would have some concerns or hesitations perhaps at being able to successfully translate this to the screen. How about that? Is that polite enough?
I think so. And I agree. I wouldn't want to see it adapted now. There could be some fruitful things in there. Like, for instance, in the modern era, you've got the internet. What if Nero, it just refuses to get on the internet? Just, which seems like the sort of idiosyncratic thing a character like that might do.
Or, I'm picturing him like he uses the internet, but everything's really old. Like if it still existed, like he would have Vine or something like that.
Well, the entire thing about him being, let's say, overly plump and never leaving his house, for whatever reason, and I don't know, maybe this is because it was a long day, but I immediately had the humans in WALL-E flash into my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
We need to have him in the future. That's what we need to have him do.
Yeah, Nero Wolfe in the future.
Nero Wolfe 2000.
Yes, Nero Wolfe on the moon.
I miss that. Can I just say that's something I genuinely miss? I miss back when 2000 was put at the end of everything. Like, that was the coolest thing. And now I know it's technically dated, but I liked it.
Well, it's it's a little depressing because there was a certain point in time where people thought in the year 2000 we'd be colonizing, I don't know, the moon and having jetpacks and
I'm pretty
whatnot.
sure the Jupiter 1 shot off the Robinson family in 1991.
And the moon left its orbit in space 1999. And so,
Yeah, sure.
And meanwhile, here we are in 2024 with people who are still arguing that space doesn't exist. So, I mean, it's interesting to see where society has taken us. Oh gosh. But, Elon will get us to Mars. I have no doubt.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think any final comments on Rex Stout and Mr. Wolfe?
Yeah, well, like you guys know, I love the series. I thought I'd introduce it to people, reintroduce it to some, I guess. Definitely search out the A&E stuff. A lot of that's on YouTube as well. But, if it's not your thing, find something it is, because reading's one of the great pleasures in life. And the internet these days doesn't give it enough credit.
And the beauty about a good book is, like, in an era where there's so much, stuff about dopamine and reaction, attention spans, all that. If you can find a book you truly vibe with, and sometimes it takes time, like it took me years to actually get into reading. And for me, it's more so audiobooks, but it took me a long time to finally something that jived with me. But when you do, you can make it the way you want it to be. You can take your time with it. And when you start getting sucked in, like, you can use it and you can draw inspiration on your own life. For me, it's nice for like creativity with filmmaking and stuff for YouTube. But if you can find something that you can really attach to your own life, that's really something special. And you got to do some work in this day and age to read. And everybody wants to keep going back to the same well, adapt the same IP over and over again. When you can find something that's a little more unique or a little more obscure, it can kind of be a bit of your own. And it doesn't mean that it'll never be touched, but you can have your own vision and hopefully have some influence with it and kind of find a little bit of a following with those that also took time to find something that's a little bit different, but isn't so mainstream, so you all can appreciate it more and not see it so corporatized, It's cool.
And on that note, everybody look out for the new podcast series where Hangry and I will go through every individual chapter of the Aubrey Maturin series.
Yes, that
My chop liver.
do you want to do this? No, I'm kidding, Nolan. No,
I think we should. Is that the longest book ever made? I looked it up once and it was like,
it's a long series.
Well, there's a Indian epic that's one of the longest religious books ever written. If you were to get the audiobook, it's like hundreds of hours.
Wow.
There we go, guys. Let's prep for the next episode. We'll put it on quadruple speed and we'll have it done by sometime at the end of the year.
No, but Aubrey Maturin is the Master and Commander books.
Yeah, the movie.
The Russell Crowe movie?
You gotta
maybe
watch
that's
it.
an episode.
Oh, that's
Master and Commander. Yeah, we might have to talk about this the next time. I think that might be going on the list. But
maybe that's our case in point for the practical effects episode I want to do.
Ooh, that's
I'm all about that. I got some cases I'd love to talk about.
Look at that.
Labyrinth.
We are coming up with stuff as we speak. And on that note, gentlemen,
we do that a lot.
We do that a lot. Thank you very much. This was a very engaging and sleuthy conversation today. Members, if you liked what you heard, please drop us a line down below. We love reading your comments. We love reading your thoughts. Nolan has a claw, but
like practical effects.
Tell us what you think about Nolan's practical effects claw. Ooh, that's concerning. But is it a full moon outside? No. But
if you guys have some practical effects you would like us to, we did the Wolfman episode last week. I should have gotten this in advance because this actually fits with the color and such. But if you have practical effects you'd like to see us do on the show, we'll do a stunt show in the next episode. Isn't that right, guys?
We will.
What?
Okay. Sure.
Don't we have the budget for that? Oh,
there's no budget.
We have to talk to Jonas about that. Anyway, give us your thoughts. If you have any suggestions for stuff you'd like to see us revisit, please let us know. And we just want to hear from you. So don't be shy. Type them out. And we will see you next time on this wonderful channel.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Lost Guys here on That Pod Plays. Be sure to subscribe for more content like it. And you can become a member at That Park Place here on YouTube to see more of the Lost Guys every Friday as soon as the guys record an episode. Let us know your thoughts on this intriguing topic in the comments down below. Please comment, like, and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to That Park Place Podcasts Online, your source for exclusive content and highlights from WDW Pro, The Pro Show, and That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.